what I am doing with this bucket today, the Indian word for this is Balti, and in UK you call this Balti, especially the Birmingham, the Balti Mile, Balti. So that's curry, that's Balti. And anyway, the cuisine we're doing is today is a mushroom and aubergine Balti, which is a recipe from Baltistan, northwest of Kashmir. And as you can see, the Balti cuisine is always, whenever you cook a meat, you always add vegetables to it, even or just the vegetables. So when you do the like a chicken, they do the black eyed beans with it. If you do like lamb, they do okra and spinach in it. And if you're doing like a red meat or beef, then they do like peppers. So the Balti is like a nice thick curry with the vegetables. And welcome to Currykingvinny. Today we're gonna cook the Balti. So all I'm using is the Balti spice mix. It's the only spice I'm using. Along with that, I'm gonna do this like a restaurant style. So what we're gonna do is I've got finely chopped onions and some ginger paste and garlic paste, teaspoon of each. Some cashew nuts, which I'm just gonna soak in warm water because that helps to make it like a really nice and creamy and smooth. And got some tomatoes. The tomatoes as well. Use as many different types of tomatoes, beautiful, different flavors, or you can add tomato puree as well. I've got some aubergines and some mushroom. The first thing first is we're gonna make the base sauce for the Balti. I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of oil. Get the pan nice and hot for this, and grease the pan. The first thing goes in is the onions. So finely chopped onions, always essential whenever you're making the sauce. There you go. Just gonna use all of it. The more sauce is the better, because if there is any curry left, it's not gonna go waste, does it? Tomorrow you can always chuck something else in it and eat it. So I'm gonna fry the onion till it becomes light golden, and then I'm gonna add the ginger and garlic. Now the onions are succulent, as you can see. They're going light golden. This is the point of time you add the ginger paste and the garlic paste. If you get ginger and garlic paste together, it's even better. You can just add one. So it takes about 30 seconds when you're on high heat for about this portion. If you're cooking for a bigger portion, you probably need to cook it for up to a minute and a half to get rid of the rawness of the ginger and garlic paste. So it's very essential. See, what happens is, when the onions and the ginger and garlic all taste raw, it's not cooked properly, it overpowers the spices. So that's the very important thing. To taste the spices better, you have to make sure you cook the onions and tomatoes correctly. So adding tomatoes, I'm just gonna cook until the tomatoes soften. Now the tomatoes soften, I'm gonna add the cashew nuts. I'm adding the water as well because one, you should never waste water. As my great grandmother used to say, if you can't save the water, you cannot save anything in life. That's what my great grandmother said to us when we were young. So we always made sure we were not allowed to waste the water. So adding water helps us to get the nice bit of liquid into the smooth paste. So that's done. I'm just going to blend it into a fine smooth paste. As you can see, I've not added any spice to it whatsoever apart from a pinch of salt. That's it. Now we're getting the base into a fine smooth paste. I'm just going to add a quarter tablespoon oil. What I'm going to do as well here, I'm just going to saute the mushroom and just get a bit of caramelization. I'm going to do the same for the aubergine as well. So when you add in the sauce, it will hold the texture. I think it's very important. So the vegetables doesn't have to be like soggy and like dead and like no life in it. It needs to have the texture. I think this helps to keep the texture. And as you can see, the grilled mushroom has a fantastic flavor. So if you got some mushroom grilled in an oven as well, you can add that any other vegetables as well for the Balti. So we're gonna do that. Just add the mushrooms, get nice crunchy caramelization. Just always add just a touch of salt. You can add a bit of pepper as well if you like. Yeah. Now you can see the mushrooms nicely golden, so I'm just gonna put back in the bowl. And I'm gonna, in the same pan, I'm just gonna do the aubergine, because I don't like aubergine when they are like really soft and soggy, so that's why I like to just fry it. It gives a fantastic flavor. I know over the years we always had some really nice Baltis in our restaurant. We try to bring unique Baltis. We used to do the Balti mushroom paneer, mushroom aubergine Balti, cauliflower, zucchini and beans, and we did one with the cashew nuts, mushrooms and courgettes as well. It was a massive hit with the customers, so do not try this at home. Always add just a bit of salt to get the crunchiness to the, and also a bit of taste. So there you go, the aubergines are done. All you want to do, just scoop the aubergine out, so that way the aubergines will stay intact in the curry, so it's not going to get all soggy. Trust me, it's one of the dishes where I eat the aubergine, otherwise I'm not a fan of aubergine. In the same pan, I'm just going to add some onions. The reason I'm adding the onions again is I think it will add the texture to the curry, rather than just boring the paste we have, which we made of the onion, tomato and cashew nuts and the sauce. So it just will add a little bit of onions and tomato, like how traditional curries are tasted in India. So once the onions turn succulent, I want to add the tomatoes. So to this I'm adding the ground spice paste we did earlier. As simple as that. I'm sure the onions and the tomatoes easily available. If you can't eat the cashew nuts, you can skip it, it's fine, but make sure you cook the onion and tomato nicely so it doesn't have a watery texture to that. So now the time is, I've got about 1.5 teaspoon of the Balti mix. I'm just gonna add it to that. So if you notice, most of the spices I always like to cook in the oil a little bit, but the Balti has very delicate flavors and spices, and especially for the vegetarian dishes. So I'm just gonna add the spices to the Balti and just gonna fry it for a second. Look at that, how it turns out. It's becoming like a really fine smooth paste. I'm gonna add some water to that in a minute. Yeah, now you can see it's all cooking nicely, it's all bubbling up. Now I'm just adding the water just for enough to texture, because the vegetables really don't need to cook for too long. So add the water and add the mushrooms we sorted earlier and the aubergines. So you can add more vegetables choice as well if you like, just add that. I'm just gonna simmer it for just 2 minutes, check for seasoning, add some fresh coriander, and that's your Balti. So look at that, it's perfect. The sauce, the texture, always make sure it doesn't stick to the side, so just mix it. So now the aubergines are cooked, and so does the mushrooms. It didn't need a long time to cook. So smooth and so delicate flavors, but it does need a pinch of salt. So add salt and add some fresh chopped coriander. Just look at that, absolutely beautiful. So we did not add any butter, cream, or it's so tasty. Onion, tomato, ginger and garlic, few cashew nuts, Balti spice mixed with the vegetable. You will be able to make delicious Balti. Trust me, all your family and friends, they will love it. You will become the curry king of your family, or the curry queen. So visit currykingvinny.co.uk and order your Relish Balti mix today.